Will the new Google Gemini replace designers? Google showed their new Gemini ChatGPT competitor, and the demo, even though it looked pretty on rails, was actually very impressive. The main difference is that it actually looked a lot more like a human, meaning it could reason and it could add complexity to the flow. So it wasn't a single task being solved, but instead the tasks were kind of follow-ups on top of follow-ups. And that kind of reasoning is a lot closer to what designers do. So is it going to replace designers? Well, first thing that you need to start with to understand here is that it probably won't replace designers anytime soon, because it wasn't made, the purpose of it wasn't to replace designers, and it wasn't to replace many other jobs. The main purpose of it was to replace the dated old school Google search. So instead of going to a search engine, you now just type in something like a question, like into ChatGPT, and because it's supposedly smarter than ChatGPT, it means that it will give you just better answers, basically. And it turns out that in 30 out of 32 metrics, the standard measuring metrics for AI, this Gemini model actually beats ChatGPT, and sometimes by a pretty large margin. And that of course poses a problem of another kind, because right now the internet works like this. You type in a search query, then you go to a website, there are some advertisements on that website, you get your information, and then basically you need to parse that information yourself. So you need to figure out whether it's true or not, and it's gonna be increasingly hard nowadays. So with this new model, just like in ChatGPT, you kind of ask it a question and it provides you the answer from multiple sources combined with some reasoning and some human-like qualities of analyzing the information. The issue, of course, is if those websites don't get money from those ads because it's completely skipped by the bot, then they'll go out of business and the bot won't have any spots to learn from in the future. So basically it will kind of cease to exist from lack of information. So this is a problem that still needs to be solved somehow. But let's talk about design, because design is a lot of complex reasoning and problem solving, and obviously the previous models could help you with a single screen. It could probably understand a little bit about that screen and tell you some stuff about how to fix it. I even made a bot on GPT like that myself, so with some of my knowledge. I didn't want to give it too much though. And yeah, it kind of works. It gives you some feedback on one specific screen. But the previous models, like ChatGPT, couldn't really think in terms of an entire flow that you really need in most of UX design to accomplish a task. Well, now this model supposedly can actually learn that. It doesn't know that yet, but it can learn that. So once it learns that, it will be able to actually participate in a design process. Will it replace a designer? Not necessarily, but it will definitely be a much faster way to design, and especially for research data, it's going to be a much faster way to parse a lot of data and provide you with a human-like understanding of that data. But it still can be wrong, just like a human can be wrong. And I think that the future for designers is just going to be faster workflows. And one thing that you should really focus on, which is going to be super important in the future of design, is actually getting those design fundamentals in your head. They really need to be ingrained in there, and they really need to be strong. And then the problem-solving skills that you need to practice, possibly daily. I talked about it in some other videos. Those are the things that are going to be very relevant, because somebody has to evaluate what AI gives us back. So it's kind of like a tool that does some of the work faster and potentially can do some work that currently wasn't possible with the AI tools of nowadays. But still, we're gonna need designers, but we're not gonna need designers that go to ChatGPT right now and ask the very basic questions. You really need to know all the basics, and then you can just use it to your advantage. But all those people who are now using AI without really learning stuff themselves, or the people who use auto layout without knowing how layout works, yeah, those are the people that are gonna be replaced by AI. Everybody else, not so much. So just be smart about it, learn the design fundamentals, and obviously have a beautiful day.